The biggest lie financial advisors say, and I'm not even sure it's a lie anymore. I think it's just been so ingrained in the business that I freaking hate this. The average investor underperforms the index significantly because the average investor does not know how to manage his behavior. Oh, I hate that. I just listened to, I'm on a little bit of a drive here, and I just listened to two guys. One, I freaking did a great video, except for that. The other, which I enjoy their stuff, I'm not saying who they are. The question that they received was, should they hire a financial advisor? And they go right into the litany of the various things like Dalbar. They didn't actually, I think these guys are too sophisticated to say Dalbar, because they know most, well, actually I don't say that. Many professionals, I don't even know if I say that. Some professionals, I don't even know if I say that. A few professionals know that the Dalbar study is flawed from front to back. That's a fact. So they'll use a Vanguard study, or they'll use a Morningstar study that says the average advisor can add 3% value to the average investor. Because essentially, well, why is that? Because essentially the average advisor is protecting the investor from himself and making stupid decisions. I've always found that to be just, look, I used to use this pitch myself, and I hated it because no one admits that they are average, because they're not. No one's average. What I mean by that is you aren't average, my friend. If Joe Smith in Boston, Massachusetts is watching this video, Joe Smith is not average. If Jenny McLean in freaking Los Angeles, California is watching this video, Jenny McLean is not average. She is Jenny and he is Joe. They're very unique individual items that have their own way of looking at things. So the average investor, the whole thing's stupid, man, silly. On top of that, the idea that Jenny and Joe, because the first decline of the markets, are going to jump out, the average investor jumps out when the markets go south, I find that to be absurd. My experience, now look, I'm not saying some don't do it, I'm just saying the average person jumps out, or he buys in October 2007, and the average, and then when the markets decline, he jumps out in March of 2009, then he buys today. No one does that. I mean, again, are there some people who do that? Sure. The vast majority, the average, no, it's just not true. And so they use these metrics as if that were true and applicable to you. And I've always hated, like, when I used to try to pitch that, I say, look, Mrs. Smith, if you don't hire me, you're going to make these mistakes. And I was like, and I never said it like that, but the insinuation was you need somebody to protect you from yourself. I always found that to be just a freaking, I just think it's fraudulent. Fraudulent is too strong a word. It's demeaning. There's no other way. Why are you in the left lane just puddling along? My name is Pokemon. I like to poke along in the left lane. My name is Pokemon. I like to... Oh, there's a guy on my YouTube channel who did not like my voices. So check this one out. My name is Pokemon. I like to poke in the left lane. So there's a voice for it. Take that. How you like them apples? Anyway, so going back to the average investor, the reason I don't like that is because there's no average investor. Every investor is unique. Kind of like going back to there's no such thing as a long term is less risky for stocks because long term never arrives. All right, so anyway, why is this such a why does this give me such a bee in my bonnet, so to speak? Because it's just there isn't a valid. How do you validate that? How do you say if I had an advisor charging 1%, he would make me 3% more? And no one's saying that explicitly. Morningstar and Vanguard. So we got three sources of this. We got Dalbar. That was the initial thing that came out back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then everybody jumped on that and said, yeah, and I used to do that. Then we had Morningstar to kind of confirm that to some degree. And then Vanguard says advisor. They have what's called advisor Gamma. Gamma, I think, is it Alpha? No, it's Gamma. How much can an advisor add, and tax efficient planning, all this other stuff. But again, it all goes back to not jumping in, jumping out. If you're just squirreling money away on a regular basis into your 401k, inherently you're not jumping in, you're not jumping out. All right. So most people, they build wealth from squirreling money away every paycheck into a 401k. That is not debatable. So how does Morningstar or Vanguard or Dalbar, for heaven's sake, measure that? How do they measure you put money in on a regular basis? You're not taking the money out, you're putting money in. Well, they measure, well, I don't know about Morningstar specifically, but, and I know Dalbar, they measure it in as if you're buying high. You're buying at the highs of the market. So you're dollar cost averaging. It's just stupid, man. You're not buying high, you're not buying low, you're not buying high, you're not selling low, you're just freaking putting money in. So, I mean, and not that, but how do these companies actually have access to what you do inside your 401k? Does your 401k provider allow them the data? I hope not. Did you agree to that? The only one who could do that would be Vanguard, because they have so many 401k accounts. But still, did Vanguard, I mean, do they know what Joe Schmo in Boston and Jenny McLean and freaking in Los Angeles are doing on any individual day? No. They take in the aggregate. Well, the aggregate, what does that mean, the aggregate? If they're even doing that. I mean, again, I don't know. It's kind of like Fidelity says, the average IRA is only $50,000, or the average retirement account. That's what it was, the average retirement account. And everybody and their mom go, oh my goodness, there's a retirement crisis. Yeah, because you might have 2 or 3 or 4 retirement accounts. So if you have 4 accounts, a total of $200,000, your average retirement account is $50,000. But your Jenny McLean in Los Angeles has $200,000. But Fidelity allowed it to be seen like, oh my goodness, I have $50,000 in my average account. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's stupid. So the idea that you need a financial advisor who's going to charge you 1% to protect you from yourself, I just find that to be absurd. Now, you know, I mean, I don't know if you know, hopefully you know, but you know you bought high and sold low. You bought high and sold low, excuse me. You know you did that. And most people know if they do that or not. You don't do that again. Don't do that again. I had a guy a couple years ago. He said, hey, markets are way high. I think I should sell. I said, what are you going to do with it? He goes, I don't know. I was wondering what you thought. I said, why would you ever think I have some idea on this? I mean, if you have, you know, the barbell, 4 years cash, the rest in the equities, then why would you sell? Well, because the markets are high. Does that, I mean, did I protect him from himself? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what he did, because I just don't care. I'm like, look, it's your money. Do whatever you got to do to sleep well. That's my thought. If it's keeping you awake at night, what are you doing in the markets, man? You know what I'm saying? No one stays awake at night thinking that the market is, no one sits awake at night thinking that they're fear of missing out in the market. Now, people do stay awake at night think that they're going to get killed in the market. So no one sits there and says, I'm in cash, I'm missing out, I can't sleep. No one says that. They don't worry about that. They do, maybe in some regard, but not much. You know what they do worry about? They worry about getting killed. And as such, going to conservative isn't the worst thing that ever happened in terms of, I'm going to protect you from, freaking selling and stay in the market. That's silly, man. I mean, how many times that happened? B, how many times is that, how much, freaking sleep did you lose to stay in the market so you can appease your financial advisor? Let's see, do you really think, so here's the other thing I was wanting to say too. A financial advisor who has to keep somebody in the market to keep them from making a big mistake is not going to be a financial advisor for long. Because ultimately that financial advisor will discourage the client from doing what the client wanted to do. Oh, there's a guy walking, that's sad. And guess what? That client will ultimately fire him or sue him. Because what's going to happen is one day the market is going to tank. The client wanted to get out of the market, but the advisor dissuaded him from doing that. And then the market is going to tank, and that client's going to get PO'd, and he's going to sue, or he's going to fire that guy anyway. I'm just telling you right now, man, that's the way it is. So if I'm a financial advisor, I'm certainly not holding myself out as saying, look, I'll protect you against yourself so you don't make that big mistake. Because the big mistake is always don't sell, stay tight, stay the course, stay the course. That's always what the big mistake is, that people sell at the most inopportune times. Well, sometimes people actually, by hook or by crook, they sell at an opportune time, i.e. they miss out on the down market, even if it's lucky. And when they do, when they try to, and you told them to stay the course because it's prudent financial planning, you'll be holding that wet bag. And I'm telling you, man, in this day and age of litigious society, you're going to be the one that's going to pay for that. Anyway, hope this helps.